Yo, what up? It's Aaron Moses. In this video, I'm pretty sure it shares the title with other videos that I made, but what's your purpose, man? One of my favorite songs, it's not the most lyrical song, it's not the deepest song, but by Atlanta rapper Pee Wee Longway, Longway. But a good portion of the hook of that song, of the chorus, he says, "What's your purpose? What's your purpose being on the block if you don't got no work? What's the purpose of you laying up with this chick if, you know, he just." But at the end of the day, it made me really reflect, especially when I was listening to a song, a video, a couple videos by the late great uh, Gavin Samuels, the Godfather. And at the end of the day, he asked a very simple question to multiple women, which was, what is the purpose of a man? What's the purpose of you wanting to get married? Why do you want a man so bad? What are men supposed to do in your life? Some people said, for survival. Some people said, the purpose of a man's place in society is to protect. But none of them had a universal answer, which was very disturbing. What's the purpose of you having a stepfather for your children? A lot of women couldn't give a real sophisticated or even complex answer. Or even simple answer that made sense, which is disturbing, and it speaks to a lot of why a lot of societies in America function how they function in the state that they're in. Right? I'm not saying these women are dumb or they're stupid. I'm simply saying they're ignorant. Now, the definition of ignorant means without knowledge. If you want something and you don't actually know why you want something, 9 times out of 10 it's because of social programming. You want a car, but you don't even know why you want a car. You want a car because the store is too far. You could walk. Okay, well, you want a car to save time. What kind of car do you want? I don't know. Why don't you know? Now, there's 3 things I'm going to speak about in this video that I learned from a very young age that turned me into a great thinker, a very deep thinker, unnecessarily deep thinker at sometimes, an overthinker at sometimes, but it's still 3 very important parts of my psychology. Now, the first thing that I learned, I think, from my mother was she said, never do anything without knowing why you're doing it. I would do little stupid little kiddie stuff, like I would, let's just say, for example, I would draw on the walls, or I would put on just cologne for no reason. And she said, "Aaron, did you know that was some very expensive this lotion, cologne, perfume? Why did you do that?" And I would say, "I don't know." And at some point, she said, "Bro, you are too old to be doing things, and you can't explain why you're doing it. You have to think before you do stuff. You can't just do stuff all willy-nilly. That's how people get into accidents. That's how bad things happen. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's called an accident, because people don't know what they're doing, and it just happens randomly." And I was just like, all right. Then 2 things my dad taught me. He told me that everything has a purpose, everything has a place. We were cleaning up one day, and I was just putting things random places, and he was like, "Does this go here? So why did you put it there?" Same little kid stuff. I don't know. I just didn't want it on the floor. No, let me show you where it goes. Everything has a place. You know what I mean? Bees, they have a purpose. Unfortunately, roaches, they have a purpose. You know what I'm saying? Butterflies, a purpose. Every tree has a purpose. They all have a function in society that makes them important, that keeps this world functional and going around and everything balanced. So why do you want anything and you don't know its truest, highest purpose? You don't know its highest functionality. You don't know what it could be used to the best of your ability. You don't know how to yield. You don't know how to wield this weapon to the greatest of its ability. You just want it because everybody else has it, or you just want it because it's gonna make you feel good. You don't understand a man. It's supposed to bring you structure. You don't know a woman is supposed to motivate you to bring more inspiration, to have more structure, and to make you a better person, and to make you sharper, to keep you young. You want to have a kid for what? To procreate, to keep your genetic order in balance, so if something bad happens to you or if something good happens to you, they could tell the world about who you were, what you do, what you represent. And just on a genetic level, on a cellular level, we just want to reproduce wherever it may be. Even if it's stupid to you, there is a purpose that needs to be understood before you just do whatever, before you make life-changing decisions. Even if it's something small, getting a car could be a life-changing decision, especially if you don't know how to use it properly. Like I told people, I got this from Simple to P. I don't mind you using me, just don't misuse me, because I love being used. I'm very useful. If you don't feel like you could use me or my information, that would mean I'm useless. That would mean, by definition, I am useless, which means I have no purpose. Me speaking is just to entertain me, and you're going to be the same exact person. Anybody that I meet, I don't have to change your life for the rest of your life, but at least let my words change your day, change your perspective, inspire you to say, you know what? I don't like this dude. I'm gonna keep thinking how I think. I'm gonna be more solid in the foundational thoughts that I had. I'm gonna be more solid and sturdy in my own beliefs. Or, you know what? Let me go over here and look at this, or let me go over here and look at that. Whatever it may be, is to make you think something that you never thought you could think before. If you don't know how to read, and I shame you if I keep telling you statistics over and over and over. 70-something% of Cook County inmates can't read over a 4th grade level. Now, if you can't read over a 4th grade level, that makes you more susceptible to getting into car accidents, to going to jail, and to acting on violence, because you can't communicate like a normal human being. It makes you less likely to exercise all forms of conflict resolution. So it's imperative for people to know how to read, because it affects every facet of your life. Are you going to sit down and buy a dictionary and try to learn different words and go on pdfdrive.com and try to get free ebooks that I always advise people to do? You may or may not do that. You may become more stubborn in not being educated in your literary abilities. If I do that, that's a shame. But if I motivate you to do the opposite, that's a blessing. At the end of the day, that's a huge example, because if you are not in the 4th grade, you should know how to read over the 4th grade level. But at the end of the day, the why is just as important. Now, I'm going to give you a small anecdote, and this is just a very small example. But when people don't know the why, when people don't understand the reason behind the process, they tend, a lot of times, if they don't care, to skip over certain steps. I'm gonna give you an example, and it's gonna be small, it's gonna be insignificant, but I worked at a restaurant. It's no longer located in Buckhead. I don't know where they put it, but it was called Smash Burger. And Smash Burger has a process where you take the meat, you press it down with a smasher, and you have to hold it there when the grill is at a certain temperature to get a certain finish on it, right? Now, my manager was watching me work. I didn't really think that he cared too much about the process, because that's just how I thought, But at the end of the day, he was like, bro, how come you didn't hold the smasher on there for however long it was? I think it was like 45 seconds. And I was like, because I thought it was done. And he was like, no, man. When you hold the smasher on there, it gives it a certain texture. It gives it a layer, a crispy layer. So when you put the toothpick in, it keeps the juices in, and it makes the quality of the burger way different than Wendy's, McDonald's, Burger King, It's a different type of thing, and it keeps the juices and all the flavors in. So when you bite it, your mouth explodes with the juices and the flavors, and you actually get your bang for your buck. And these are expensive burgers. It's like $10 burgers, and I'm talking about in 2010 or what have you. But at the end of the day, after that, I had more integrity with how I prepared the meals for the customers because I understood the purpose. I didn't just think, oh, they just want to do this because, they want to, I understood it. And when you understand why certain laws and rules and regulations are in place, then you're more inclined to use this information to its highest power. Use it for what it's worth. If you understand that getting the car may not be in your best interest, why? Because can you afford the car? Do you have the discipline and the level of responsibility to make sure the tags are right, the registration? Can you afford the insurance? Are you emotionally stable enough to be able to get in a car accident or get your car stolen? Can you replace it? Do you understand that this could be used as a weapon? And you need to be able to control yourself to not run people over with your car. You know what I'm saying? That's the purpose of having this information. A lot of people want to buy a house. Why do you want to buy a house? Do you understand the market? It shows that it's not in your best interest to try to purchase a house. No, but this is the American dream. This is the American dream for the 50s, 60s, and 70s. It's 2022. That was the American dream, and that served a great purpose back then in most of the states. But now, that wouldn't be as economically sound for you to buy a house just because your parents were born in the 60s and 70s, and that was the ideal situation for them because it was cheaper. You might not want to live in this state. You're still young. You might wake up and the crime got worse and the neighborhood did this, and you can't just up and leave when you buy a house under certain conditions in certain states. You don't have the money to do that. You don't have the money to maintain a home remotely. You don't know how to rent a house out. You are not financially prepared to be a landlord, and you can't afford to do that and rent out a house from 2-3 states over or possibly across the country. You feel me? So the more you know the purpose for you doing something, the more you have an understanding of why you should or shouldn't do something, the more inclined you are to actually understand it and get the most out of that situation. And I know y'all want me to talk about the celebrities and who has an STD and who's baby mama. I know, but I still got to keep a good balance, man. I know the purpose for that. I know who my audience is, and I know why I do what I do, everything. I'm very strategic, very calculated. I know I've been as consistent as I could be more. I could be doing 2-3 uploads every day. But there's a time and a place for everything, as King Solomon said, man. Okay? So it is what it is. It's not what it's not, man. It's Aaron Moses. I'm the bang, you the bang, we the bang together, man. Life is in the breath. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, push that bell button. Life is in the breath, man. Breathe it in. Peace. Yeah.